Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. This year's BEC begins today, Monday, the 4th of May, and runs until the 11th of May with a call to proper exam conduct. The examination, organized by the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, will see a total of 620,141 candidates from 20,395 schools participating nationwide. This year's exams come with heightened vigilance as authorities step up efforts to curb malpractice, with WAEC urging candidates to strictly adhere to examination rules. Education Minister Haruna Iddrisu has extended his best wishes to candidates across the country ahead of the start of the 2026 Basic Education Certificate examination. In a brief message, the Tamale South MP encouraged candidates to approach the exams with confidence and composure.
We are particularly concerned about the growing phenomena of exam malpractices. Last year, it affected about 178 candidates, and several papers were withheld. In some instances, the papers were cancelled. So to you, the candidates, honesty and integrity defines citizenship. Honesty and integrity defines patriotism. And honesty and integrity must be the hallmark of your molding. When I say molding, character molding to be able to serve Ghana better tomorrow. So don't engage in any exam malpractice. And to our invigilators, we expect nothing short of the highest standard of integrity. Last year, about 8 teachers were involved facilitating cheating, and they have been dealt with in accordance with law. About 8 of them have been convicted and sentenced, and they will be taken off the payroll of the Ghana Education Service. So we mean business, and we mean that walk to this exercise with the highest sense of integrity, as that defines your future and defines what kind of responsible citizens you'll be tomorrow. So I wish you all the best. You may retire to the exam room. I want to walk through the exam room and have a feel of it. And the media too should be interested in knowing the state of Ghana's education infrastructure. After the examination results are declared, but we undertake a massive public education exercise for you to understand what is required of you. But to the Ghanaian population, we are dealing with the symptoms of the problem. If we want to enhance the computerized placement system, we must invest more in education infrastructure, more classrooms, more dormitories, more laboratories, and improvement in the learning, provision of learning materials and the quality of it. So all the best in the exams. All right, thank you.
And you had there the Education Minister, Haruna Iddrisu. He's also the Member of Parliament for Tamale South. Well, the Deputy Director General in charge of Quality and Access at the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Ishahak Munawaru, also cautioned invigilators and supervisors of the not to risk their professions by engaging in exams practice. And he also spoke in the Western region.
All schools across the country. We are talking about 620,141 children, and they have a future to protect. The rules are very clear. These rules are set by the West African Education Council, and we are implementers. We are encouraging the students to be ready, to relax, and to try and put out what they have learned, and for sure, by the grace of God, they will do well. No students who come near phone while coming to the exams, no foreign material whatsoever, no invigilator, no supervisor should risk his or her profession to go near exam malpractice. And while we encourage the students, we support our colleague teachers who are here. We encourage them to relax and provide professional support to the children so that they are not intimidated. Because for sure, they will replace us. And our wish is that they will do better than us. And everything we do is to support them. However, we don't want to train criminals. So we encourage them to relax and do what is it that they have been trained, they have been brought up, and they have been supported for the 3 years. And again, any teacher, any invigilator, any supervisor, and even let me tell my dear friend whose campus is being used, if anything happen here, then the center itself may be taken away. There's no compromise whatsoever. We are not intimidating people. We are intending to bring up a people with integrity, sincerity, and honesty. And that's the bottom line.
And you heard that the Deputy Director General in charge of quality and access at the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Ishahak Muna Waru. Meanwhile, some candidates have also expressed their optimism about the exams.
I'm very excited, and I'm also happy to see this cycle for the BEC that you're coming to write. I mean, I'm very happy to come this place. I mean, I want to be between 6 to 12 degrees.
I'm feeling excited and a little scared because this is my first time to write BEC. I will encourage them to learn and be bold because the first time of writing BEC is not easy.
And you heard there are some candidates of BEC in the Western region, and we do understand that about 45,000 candidates are writing at the BEC in the Western region alone. On her part, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, in a statement signed by the Press Secretary and spokesperson to her, Amaprat, expressed confidence in the preparedness of the candidate, noting that the performance will reflect years of dedication, discipline, and hard work. She urged students to approach the examination with confidence, honesty, and determination, emphasizing the importance of integrity throughout the process. Let's bring you some updates as regards what's happening in Accra. Noura Mohammed is my colleague. She's been going around. She joins us live on the phone. Noura, where have you been to? What did you see?
Hi, Beatrice. Can you hear me?
Yes, kindly go ahead. Where did you go to, and what was the situation there?
Right. So I've been to 2 centers. The first was Accra Girls Senior High School, and also from there we went to the WAIC Center, just right beside the Chinese Embassy. And by the time we got there, the students had already started the exam, so the environment was quite serene. It was quiet, but you could still see some parents, loitering about, some seated, waiting for their awards to finish the first paper, which is English language, so that they can, prepare with them for the next paper.
And generally, can you tell us as regards what you saw, preparedness of the children, demeanor, logistics?
Yes, so some teachers were there as well, and concerning the students, you could see that some were excited, albeit anxious, and they were quite confident in, their posturing, and the teachers also told us that they made sure they prepared the students well. They wrote several mock examinations while they were in school, so there was a general level of confidence, so to speak. But then only time will tell if that actually reflects when the results do come.
Thank you very much, Noura Mohammed. Let's go to the Ashanti region now, where my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar has also been doing some checks for us. Ibrahim, where have you been? What's the situation?
Well, Beatrice, I visited about 8 centers this morning, some within the Asukwa municipality, others within Oforukrom, and also Asukwa Mampong. And so far, I'll say the conduct has been well. Everything has gone on smoothly. The only challenge was in the morning when some of the papers were delaying. Apparently, the new directive is that the exams papers will be given to the supervisors to bring it to the center, few minutes to the paper, and Monday, you can imagine the traffic. So some started around 9:30, others also around 9:15. But aside that, everything has generally been peaceful. But then it's been the usual warning against examination malpractice this time around. I realize education officials have been very strict to the invigilators, because everywhere you realize they'll call all the invigilators and give them that warning that no one should take any money from any student, and these are the rules, and whoever is found culpable will face the law. And the students or pupils have also been given that warning that they should refrain from any form of examination or practice, else they will end up seeing their papers being cancelled. So usually those have been the advice being given, but you engage some of the students, mixed reactions. Others are quite anxious. Others are also hopeful that being their first major examination, they will be able to pass and move. The anxious one, for instance, when we went to Kase, there were two pupils who had to collapse. I don't know what happened, just minutes to enter the examination hall, but quickly they were rushed to a nearby hospital, stabilized, psyched well before they were brought to the examination center to continue with their papers. So generally the atmosphere, I would say, has been calm, and everything is quite going on as expected.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar. He's Ashanti Regional Correspondent. We go to the Volta region now, where Faisal Abdul Idrisu is standing by, having observed what's happening within some exam centers. Faisal, what can you tell us as regards where you've been to and what the atmosphere is like?
Beatrice, the day has generally been calm across the various examination centers here in the Volta region, particularly the whole municipality where I have been monitoring the exercise since this morning. Just a while ago, I was at the Kaburi Center where several schools are taking part in the examination. There is one of the centers with over 10 schools writing the paper there. So generally across the region, it's been a very peaceful, calm, and from the look of things, a lot of preparation went into it on the part of GES, on the part of the candidates themselves, and all stakeholders relevant to this very exercise today, which is
and motivate you so that this year we can have more of such awards coming from the metropolis. May I see by hand those of you who would like to receive these presidential awards? Very good, very good, very good. So the president has asked us to tell you to remain focused, because a lot of preparation has gone into what you are coming to do today. You have prepared yourself, were so determined, and the effort that you put in will not be in vain. We also use the occasion to thank your teachers, your guardians, your parents, and everybody who has contributed to making this day a possibility. The president asked us to tell you that this is just the foundation. Once you are able to lay it very well, you can build upon it. And I can see success around all of you already. Remain focused. And also, after the examination, the president has asked us to tell you to celebrate responsibly. Don't think that you have arrived after this examination, organize, the parties and give yourself out to the devil. No. Celebrate responsibly, and I believe that after the exams, you will succeed and then go higher.
And you just heard that the Volta Regional Minister James Gunu. Faisal is still on the line with us, hopefully. Faisal, we're told by John Kapi, the PRO for WAEC, that the first paper would end at 11, second one starting at, I believe, after 12 or 1. What can you tell us about perhaps those who finished and their reactions and preparations for the next?
Yeah, so the first paper is English, and then the next one will be RME. The centers I visited a while ago indicated that they were going to end the first paper very soon and then take a break shortly and then return for the second paper.
Thank you very much, Faisal Abdul Idrisu. He's our Volta regional correspondent. Still on education, the government is making a major play for education in the Western region with 2 new teacher training colleges to be established. The pledge came as Fisheries Minister Amelia Arthur marked 80 years of Holy Child College of Education in Sekondi, where she also promised a school bus, perimeter wall and a new endowment fund to reward outstanding female teachers. There is more in the following report.
After 8 decades of shaping minds and nurturing character, Holy Child College of Education remains the only teacher training institution in the Western region. To motivate the next generation of female trainees, Fisheries Minister and Shama MP Amelia Arthur pledged an annual endowment for outstanding female educators. She also announced direct government commitment to the college, a new school bus, and the construction of a perimeter wall.
As one truth remains constant: no nation rises above the quality of its teachers. And let me say, Mr. Principal, that the issues you raised with me when you came to meet with me have been heard. Following my engagement with the Honorable Minister for Education, I am pleased to assure this college the provision of a school bus and the construction of a perimeter wall will be delivered. Universities must do more than honor the past. They must invest in the future. It is in that spirit that I commit to establishing a permanent endowment, the Amelia Arthur Excellence and Empowerment Endowment for Outstanding Female Educators. I do this as a daughter of the Western region.
But the biggest announcement came from the Western Regional Minister, Joseph Nelson, who spoke on behalf of the Vice President. He said government is committed to strengthening education at all levels, particularly teacher education, by improving curriculum standards, enhancing professionalism, and integrating technology. In what he called a deliberate move to decentralize teacher education and bridge regional disparities, Mr. Nelson announced that 2 additional teacher training institutions will be established in the Western region.
In furtherance of this commitment, I'm pleased to know that deliberate steps are being taken to expand access to teacher education within the Western region. I wish to indicate that the Amenfi State Training College project, located at Wasai Kropon in the Wasa Amenfi East Ministry.
And that report was filed by a Rama Smith from the Western region. Patients seeking outpatient department services at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital are being turned away following an ongoing strike by the Kolebu Doctors Association. The doctors say that industrial action is in response to unresolved issues affecting the hospital's laboratories, which they argue are critical to their work. They are demanding that hospital management addresses these concerns to restore full access to the facilities. Chairman of the association, Dr. Kweku Awariofe, spoke to our Labour Affairs correspondent, Daniel Opoku, bringing you that very shortly. But let's go on the phone lines now and speak to our Labour Affairs correspondent, Daniel Opoku. He'll be joining us very shortly. And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join
The controversy surrounding the Bank of Ghana is deepening as the minority in Parliament launches a scathing attack on both the central bank and the governing National Democratic Congress. They accuse the NDC of politicizing the Bank of Ghana and masking deeper financial distress. At a press conference, the minority described the Bank of Ghana as a policy insolvent and in need of an urgent bailout. Here is the member of the Finance Committee of Parliament and MP for Ofuasi Ayirbi, Kojo Ponkroma, addressing the media earlier yesterday.
What happened on that Thursday when the NDC party, including non-MPs, came to Parliament, to the precincts of Parliament to hold a press conference to announce the audited accounts of the Bank of Ghana, was an illegality. Not only was it an illegality, it was an act of blatant politicization of the Bank of Ghana and its work. The governor, the board, and the government should take note that this politicization of the central bank will create issues for the operational independence and credibility of the bank going forward.
And he had the Kojo Ponkroma. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament and also the MP for Ofuasi Ayirbi in the Eastern region. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has strongly rejected claims by the minority in Parliament about its 2025 audited financial statements, calling them misleading and based on a misunderstanding of central banking. The bank says its reported loss of about 15.6 billion cedis is accurate and audited, warning against adding other comprehensive income which reflects non-cash valuation changes, not actual losses. It also defended gains from gold transactions, explaining the normal outcomes of reserve management, not attempts to hide deficit. While acknowledging economic challenges, it stressed that these policy measures are essential for stabilizing and recovery, warning that misinterpretation of its finances could undermine public confidence. Let's hear economist Professor Godfrey Bokpin also speak on this earlier on New Day with me on TV3.
That was done, and I believe that part of the motive of the sale of those gold, right, was also to repair and to reduce the deficit position of the central bank in terms of policy solvency. If you take that out, okay, and it's not something that really we will say that it's a normal operation and all that. And I hear people saying that you can't have gold so much and all of that, but check data from other central banks as well and all of that. So those are a bit more concerning, whether we are preserving the balance sheet of the central bank, whether we are creating enough scope, for instance, for the central bank to be able to respond in the event that crisis emerge in the next 2-3 years or so. We are limiting the central bank, and unfortunately we have found a way to politicize the independence of the central bank, and we are compromising their independence and their ability to be able to withstand pressures from the fiscal side. Remember that because the fiscal side doesn't look good and doesn't have scope to be able to take on the cost of restoring macroeconomic stability, we have passed on safely, conveniently. That was also what the NPP did. And the NDC has also done the same thing. We have passed on conveniently that cost of restoring macroeconomic stability, and we have loaded that cost on the books of Bank of Ghana.
And you had Dr. Godfrey Bokpin. He's an economist speaking or sharing his thoughts with us really on the figures coming from the Bank of Ghana. Let's go to our earlier story about some doctors in Korle protesting, actually declaring a strike and turning away OPD patients. We're joined by Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoku. Daniel, if you can hear me, kindly establish for us the type of doctors we're talking about currently on strike.
So, good afternoon to everybody. Basically, we're talking about the entire doctors at Korle Teaching Hospital, in excess of thousands of them who work at the Korle Teaching Hospital. And the major concern is that the medical lab scientists have denied them access to the laboratories, and they believe that that is not fair. And for the past 12 to 14 years, they are those in charge of the lab. So currently, if the medical laboratory technicians are preventing them, they believe that that is not right, and management must step in to get the matter resolved. It's the reason they have decided to withdraw their services. Until management steps in to get the matter resolved, they are not going back to work.
And Daniel, please give us a bit more detail when they talk about safety concerns.
Right. So when we talk about taking control of the medical laboratories, you do recall that for the past, since the practice of laboratory scientists began to practice, they were taught by the medical doctors. That is around the 1970s. So the medical doctors are saying that since 1970s till now, they have been in charge regulating the various labs across the country, especially the Korle Teaching Hospital. But for the past 12 to 14, what they have realized is that the medical laboratory technician, they have decided to take charge of the labs. And when you speak to the labs, and they also review that a lot of their members have also risen to the level of a medical doctor. For that reason, a lot of them have done their PhDs, and they believe they should also be in charge of the labs. So they must control the lab. They wouldn't want a medical doctor to take charge of the lab. That is the bone of contention. It's the reason the doctors are saying that they would want to protect the already existing structure that they have to take charge. For that reason, the lab scientists have decided to prevent some of the medical doctors from accessing the labs, which the medical doctors are complaining. So they have tabled petition before management. Since last year, management has not been able to resolve the problem. It's the reason they decided to withdraw their service. And this morning, they engaged with management to get the matter resolved. They have not received firm commitment yet, but they are just waiting. So in case management is able to give any firm concrete resolution to the matter, then obviously they have to call out. Thank you so much, Daniel Opoku, our Labour Affairs correspondent, bringing us an update on the strike at Korle. Now, the unposted, still on strike, unposted Environmental Health Officers and Assistants Association of Ghana is calling on the government to urgently address delays in their postings and financial clearance, and we'll bring you some more later. That's it for the Midday News here on 3FM and 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Log on to 3news.com for more news.